It's a short week for the Pittsburgh Steelers as they will face off against Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans on Thursday Night Football. Today we're going to be breaking down my keys to victory, my score prediction, and I've even got a Will Levis scouting report for you guys to enjoy today. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's show, make sure you click that subscribe button to kick off today's show. We're going to be going live for our live watch party tomorrow. We're going to be going live at about 7 p.m. Eastern Time, so make sure you click that subscribe button and join Coop and I to kick it with your fellow Yinzers here for Thursday Night Football. And before I get into all the different stuff that we're going to be getting into today, let me know to kick things off here. Who do you guys think is going to win this football game? Do you think the Steelers improve to 5-3 and get the win at home here in primetime? Type PIT. Or if you think Will Levis and the Titans will come into Acrisure and hand the Steelers their second straight loss, type TEN down there in the comments section. All right, so now let's jump right into this matchup here on Thursday Night Football. The Tennessee Titans will be coming to town. 3-4 is their record right now. Mike Vrabel is their head coach. In my opinion, he's one of the better overall leaders of men in the National Football League. He does a great job at getting his players to buy into his system. They tend to get better as the season goes on. So this isn't going to be an opponent where you're just going to be able to run over them. And they're definitely not going to be a team that gives up midway through the season. On offense, they're going to run a modern hybrid offense here. They're going to combine some of the West Coast elements with some of the Earnhardt-Perkins elements that we see, the spread concepts that we see throughout the league. They have a very unique offense that they run here in Tennessee, kind of tailored to the strengths of Derrick Henry. And then defensively, they're going to run a Belichick 3-4 system, lots of cover one man, lots of cover seven, lots of Nick Saban man match cover concepts here on defense that Mike Vrabel likes to run. They like to mix things up. They like to run a lot of exotic stuff. So Kenny Pickett better be ready going into this week. And then the Tennessee Titans coming into this week, they're sitting at 3-4. So let's take a look at what their schedule has looked like to this point. You lose by 1 point to the Saints on the road in week 1. You get a win over kind of the fraudulent Chargers there in week 2. You get piss pounded by the Browns there in week 3 on the road. Then you get 27-3, and then you piss pound the Bengals in week 4 at home. I mean, this team has been kind of up and down throughout the season. You lose 2 straight to the Colts and Ravens, and then last week you win 28-23 versus the Falcons at home. So let's take a look at some of the season trends here between the Steelers offense and the Titans defense, kind of look at the matchups going into this week's matchup. So 16.1 points per game for the Steelers so far. That's among the lowest in the National Football League. And then the Titans defense right now is actually doing a pretty darn good job holding their opponents to 20 points per game. Something to really keep in mind there, that red zone defense for Tennessee, 34.6. That's even lower than the third down conversion percentage that they're giving up right now. 34.6 in the red zone is one of the lowest marks in the National Football League right now. That's going to be really tough. Kenny Pickett and the Steelers' red zone offense better be ready to score once they get into the red zone. Tennessee is very stingy when you get into the red area. Then you look at the other side of the coin here, the Titans offense versus the Steelers defense. Similar kind of dynamic here. To the Titans offense hasn't been fantastic to this point, just 18.1 points per game. And then the Steelers are giving up about 21 points per game. Where the Steelers really differentiate themselves defensively this year, at least in my opinion, is the turnover number right there. They've been able to stay in football games because this team is number 2 in turnovers in the National Football League on defense so far this year. They have been absolutely fantastic in that regard, and I think they need to create probably a couple turnovers in this one in order to get the victory. So if you believe the trends here between these two teams and their matchups so far this year, the trends would predict a 21-20 Titans win this week. It's going to be really close according to the trends. I'm going to let you guys know my official Week 9 score prediction here in just a second, along with my keys to victory versus the Tennessee Titans, which will include a Will Levis scouting report coming up here in just a second. But first, I want to tell you about our sponsor for today's show, which is Game Time. And let me tell you, man, Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. If I ever want to go get tickets to an event, whether it be an MLB baseball game or an NBA basketball game, or to go to a concert with my girlfriend Cassie, I just pull up the Game Time app. It's the only ticketing app that I have on my phone because of all the great features that it has on its app. They've got the lowest price guarantee. They've got flash deals right before game time. I don't have to use any other ticketing app because this one is so freaking fantastic. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are also sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email again. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SteelersChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SteelersChat for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Now let's jump into these keys to victory versus the Tennessee Titans here on Thursday Night Football. The first one here is don't take the bait. And the reason why it's don't take the bait is because Will Levis, in my opinion, has one of the best pump fakes in the National Football League today. It's really how he creates big-time opportunities down the field. That's why he was able to have such a great performance last week versus the Atlanta Falcons, throwing for 3 touchdown passes. 3 of them were thrown 30-plus yards in the air. So this guy likes to air it out. And listen, that big playability is certainly there. And that pump fake that he has, he does it in rhythm. He does it extremely smoothly. You cannot bite on the double moves done by DeAndre Hopkins. But we'll get to Hopkins here in just a second. When it comes to Levis, obviously, he's got the great arm talent. He's got the quick release. He's got pitch-perfect mechanics. He's also a good athlete, and he's extremely competitively tough. This is somebody that's going to do whatever it takes to get the victory. Now, the cons, we knew this coming out of Kentucky last year, is that the accuracy issues are legitimate. He does not have great ball placement right now. He doesn't do a great job at judging whether he needs to put air on the football or when he needs to throw a line drive. He doesn't understand that yet. And then his pocket presence right now isn't all that great either. So if you can put pressure on this guy, he's going to make mistakes. The accuracy is not going to be there. That's going to be a big-time key to victory in this one for the Steelers, is to put pressure on Will Levis. To me, I think he's a replacement level NFL starting quarterback right now. I think he's got the potential to become a pretty darn good player in this league moving forward if he grows further. But I came away feeling a little bit underwhelmed watching his film from last week versus the Falcons. I saw that stat line, 4 touchdowns. I expected to see somebody just absolutely lighting it up. And aside from a couple really nice throws on his film, I came away a little bit underwhelmed. I think the Steelers will have an opportunity to do a good job against him. But DeAndre Hopkins right now, their number 1 wide receiver, is absolutely balling out. Like Mike Tomlin said at his press conference this week, this guy's always open. He is still an extremely good route runner. He's still an elite ball winner at the catch point. And then the double moves that this guy is pulling off right now are absolutely insane. Match those double moves with Will Levis's ability to pump fake and then throw the ball deep in rhythm. I mean, that's a serious weapon that the Tennessee Titans have at their disposal, and the Steelers secondary absolutely cannot take the cheese. I'm looking at you, Patrick Peterson. And now we go to the second key to victory today. I kind of already alluded to this. You got to put pressure on Will Levis. And I really do think that the key matchup here between the Steelers' defensive line and the Titans' offensive line is going to be between edge rusher Alex Highsmith and Titans left tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere, who is by far the weakest link on this Titans offensive line. I mean, coming into the season, they have definitely overdone their expectations this year. They were expected to be one of the worst offensive lines in football. They're actually one of the highest graded units in the league so far this year, but their weak spot is Nicholas Petit-Frere, their left tackle, only grading at a 43.0 right now. Alex Highsmith needs to take advantage of this matchup and get pressure on Will Levis early and often. Third point here that I want the Steelers to get done this week is you got to stay strong versus the run. We've seen in the past against the Houston Texans, against the San Francisco 49ers, against even Nick Chubb in that Browns game in the first half before he got injured. Good running backs, dominant running backs have been able to really carve up this Steelers defense so far this year, and Derrick Henry is one of those really, really good running backs that can absolutely get that job done. Right now, 4.4 yards per carry, a really good number right there. Touchdowns are a bit lower, but that's a little bit to be expected because this offense as a whole hasn't been great. But Derrick Henry right now, that 86.3 PFF grade is the second highest in the National Football League. And the big dilemma here for the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be to choose between doubling DeAndre Hopkins, who I still view as a top 10 wide receiver in the National Football League, and loading the box to stop Derrick Henry, because everybody knows how physically imposing King Henry can be. Mike Tomlin talked about both of these guys in his press conference this week, saying they're both going to be a problem. I expect the Steelers to pick and choose their moments here when it's kind of more passing downs. I think they'll double Hopkins, but in those early downs and in short area situations, I do expect the Steelers to load up the box and stop Derrick Henry. Now, which guy do you think is going to be more dangerous, and which guy do you think the Steelers need to have their focus on more heading into this week? Is it DeAndre Hopkins, type D-Hop, or if you think it's Derrick Henry, type King, down there in the comment section. Speaking of Derrick Henry, I think a huge aspect of going and getting this victory this week for the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be to keep the Tennessee Titans offense off the field and win the time of possession battle. Here's the reality of playing a guy like Derrick Henry. If your defense is on the field for like 2/3 of the freaking football game like we've seen from this Steelers team, for most of the games this year. I mean, they've lost the time of possession battle in 6 of their 7 games. The only one where they won it was against the Las Vegas Raiders, and it was by less than a minute of time of possession, all right? So the Steelers have not controlled the clock whatsoever this year. We understand this. This is going to be something the Steelers need to do this week, because if it's like weeks past where the opposing offense is on the field for a majority of this football game, Derrick Henry is going to wear down this defense, and by the fourth quarter, they're going to be tired, and Derrick Henry is going to be able to run all over them. So when it comes to the Steelers this week, you got to make sure that you're methodical in your offensive game planning. You're keeping Derrick Henry and this Titans offense off the field so your defense doesn't get burned out. All right, I got one more key to victory to share with you guys here in just a second. But first, do me a favor. Click that thumbs up icon, because every like that we get on today's video is going to equal 1 yard of offense versus the Tennessee Titans tomorrow night. So if you want the Matt Canada to get his first 400-yard performance as the offensive coordinator of as his tenure as the offensive coordinator here, let's get 400 likes on this video. Let's get it going. Let's get those positive vibes going, and let's get this offense rolling. My only real offensive key to victory in this football game revolves around Kenny Pickett, who will be starting this week, coming off of a rib injury that he suffered. And to me, it's going to be he needs to handle the heat, and he needs to bust some ghosts. Now, what does that mean exactly? The Tennessee Titans, they're going to bring simulated pressures. They're going to bring exotic blitzes. They're going to rotate coverages pre-snap. They're going to do a whole bunch of stuff to try to confuse Kenny Pickett. And unfortunately for Pickett so far in his career, he has been susceptible to these types of defenses. Right now in 2023, Kenny Pickett isn't the only problem with this Steelers offense, but he's definitely a big part of it. Just 61% completion percentage. That's fine, I guess, but just 190 yards passing per game, definitely not good enough at this point in the year. 6 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. And honestly, it seems like every single week there's a dropped interception. There was another one last week against the Jags. And then the advanced stats don't look much better. 35th in catchable percentage, 29th in on-target percentage. So he's one of the least accurate starting quarterbacks in the National Football League so far this year. The big-time throw percentage is below average. The turnover-worthy play percentage is fine, but it's definitely not top 10 at this point. And then the overall value, points above replacement, negative 7.8. That's 37th out of 38 quarterbacks in the league with at least 50 pass attempts so far this year. The only guy lower is Cleveland Browns backup P.J. Walker. Kenny Pickett just straight up has not been a valuable quarterback so far this year. Now, there's other problems involved with this offense. The run game isn't going, all these different things, but Kenny Pickett is definitely a part of the issue. And because I don't have much confidence in the Steelers offense, right? I think there's going to be a lot of 3-and-outs in this football game, right? Like we've seen in weeks past. Kenny Pickett is playing hurt this week against a really creative and disciplined defense in the Tennessee Titans. I just see the Tennessee Titans offense being on the field a lot in this football game. I think DeAndre Hopkins will have at least one big catch in this football game. I think Derrick Henry is going to be able to continuously get better as this game wears on, because the Steelers defense is going to get tired. And I think at the end, it's going to be 21-10. Titans win. I really, really hope I'm wrong on this prediction. I hope Kenny Pickett comes up and really balls out. I hope Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren get the run game going. I hope they win the time of possession battle right now. But unfortunately, I don't love the matchup for the Steelers this week. But let me know what you guys are thinking down there in the comments. Give me your Pittsburgh Steelers versus Tennessee Titans score predictions for this week's game down there in the comments section. And make sure you click that subscribe button. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we are going live tomorrow night for our live watch party. So if you want a place to kick it with your fellow Yinzers this NFL season, this is going to be the place for you. Click that subscribe button right now.